Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just 118 days away from its official release by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film is going to answer many of the burning questions from The Force Awakens, as well as, creating new questions at the very beginning of this movie that will ultimately be answered at the very end of Episode 9. And with that being said, we do know that JJ is very ambitious and goal-driven about this movie and how he's really trying to approach the end of the Skywalker saga. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically a description of Rey traveling into the Lost City, where it's explained that she is in search of both Jedi and Sith lore, to better understand the dark and the light sides of the Force, to keep historical accuracy for her new order. It's said that eventually Rey comes across a place called the Lake of Dreams, which is said to be a dark cave that is connected to the Beyond. This sequence is said to involve Rey laying on her back in the water, where she closes her eyes and begins to hear the Force Ghost voice of Anakin Skywalker, where he begins to give Rey a brief yet vital lesson. It's said that Anakin reveals to Rey during her time in the lake that the Lost City is the strongest Force nexus there is in the galaxy, and is a place that was created by the Wills themselves, that was also used as a conduit to communicate with the ancient Jedi and Sith. It's explained also that while the Wills were creating the galaxy, this was the first sacred location that would become a powerful Force nexus, which is a concentration of the Force. Anakin is also said to unveil to Rey that the Wills themselves are the ones responsible for creating a different Chosen One prophecy every so often as needed during the balance between the light and the dark being set off. It's explained to be a game-changing moment in the film by JJ that will change Star Wars forever. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, we do know that at the end of the day, Anakin really is the true face of the Star Wars franchise. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there will agree with that because he ultimately becomes Darth Vader and eventually redeems himself and saves his own son from Palpatine. So what's so inspiring about this is that this is a moment in time in which we have Rey heading over to a place that is actually said to have a lot of sacred origins to the ancient Jedi and the ancient Sith. Now, this actually dates back to a time before the Jedi and the Sith actually had a struggle against each other. And I think that's a very interesting point, is that once she goes into the Lake of Dreams, it's a place that's connected to the Beyond. In case you guys did not know, the Beyond is said to be the very origin of the galaxy where it all began. It's kind of like the Star Wars version of the Big Bang, from what it seems, that was initiated by the Wills. So, what's really exciting is that Anakin's Force Ghost is said to tune into Rey's mind as she is meditating in the Lake of Dreams, and as all of this unfolds, this is where she actually begins to learn by Anakin that, of course, the Lost City is the strongest Force nexus there is in the Star Wars galaxy. Now, in case you guys have no idea what a Force nexus really is, that is a concentration of the Force that could range anything from an environment to a person or a thing. And that's a very interesting point that's actually being told by Anakin to Rey. Now, not only that, the Wills used the Lost City as a conduit to communicate with the ancient Jedi and the ancient Sith. And what's really exciting about this is that you can see that George and JJ, they're really trying to do something very special with the Wills themselves, these godlike beings that are in fact immortal, where one of which is said to be a fallen Will. So, in case you guys did not know, there is one godlike being called the Fallen Will, who was the one who created all of the Dark Spires and all of the Dark Temples throughout the galaxy. And what I love so much about this is that this really is tapping into George Lucas and his original ideas for his version of the sequel trilogy and what he wanted to do, pretty much showing us a different medium of Star Wars. In this film, we're getting flow walking, flash fights, the netherworld of the Force, the Wills, everything like that. That is definitely a game-changing aspect that will be added into The Rise of Skywalker. And by the way, they are using Episode 9 as a foundation to really build towards something more magical, and I can really see why they're taking advantage of this opportunity to really introduce new types of Star Wars lore, because this movie is very important to Disney and Lucasfilm, as well as to the Star Wars community. It's not just the end of the sequel trilogy, it's the end of the Skywalker saga. basically ending and wrapping things all up from what we actually known and loved since 1977. So the last piece that I just want to go over here is that the Lost City itself, what's so exciting about this is that it's actually explained through Anakin's Force Ghost that it was the Wills themselves who chose different chosen ones throughout the ages as needed when both the light and the dark were out of balance. So right then and there, the Wills basically chose Anakin to become a chosen one and wrote the chosen one prophecy for that specific generation. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.